I started classes again today, y'all. I'm back on that academic grind. And guess where I just came from? An entire class that's dedicated on how to be a professor. And I'm going to take that knowledge and I'm going to immediately apply it to my YouTube channel. These are lectures, okay? This is a class. So everybody sit down, get your pencils out, because I have stuff to say. I low-key have a bachelor's degree. I low-key am getting a master's degree. I'm low-key like an intellectual. I'm low-key an academic intellectual.
Sure, Jan.
And part of being an academic intellectual is studying things, of course, for my favorite band, 21 Pilots. I've studied so much just weird nonsense because of these two boys from Ohio, I swear. For example, I have looked into All My Sons by Arthur Miller. I have looked into the Bourbaki group, which we'll get into today. And then, of course, the main topic of today's video, Simone Weil. I gotta think, where does Tyler come up with this? What kind of niche Facebook group is he on to even discover this kind of stuff? I'm not really sure, but regardless. Today we're going to talk about Simone Weil and how she may be connected to the 21 Pilots lore. Because it seems like she's a very important player in this story and like a big inspiration to 21 Pilots, but not a lot of people talk about it. You pretty much have to be within the trenches, pun intended, no pun intended, and that's a double whammy. Pretty much have to be in the depths of the lore understanding to even hear her name, but we are going to try to tackle the topic today. Now, Simone Weil, if you have a problem with my pronunciation, take it up with the fact that I'm not French. I am Appalachian though, so just be glad I didn't say Simone Weil. Simone was a French philosopher and political activist, and now recently it appears that she is a part of the 21 Pilots lore. Honestly, that's probably her greatest achievement. Being a philosopher, being an activist, whatever. Being a mystic, nonsense. Being a part of the 21 Pilots lore, now that's something to be proud of. Seeing an interview, Tyler had this picture on his computer in the background, and it was a picture of the Bourbaki group, which I have made a video about in the past, along with All My Sons. But in this picture, there was a person that was purposefully edited into the photograph, and that was Simone Weil. So the fact that she was literally edited into this photo shows that she is somehow important, and we should be paying attention to her. Now, putting her with the Bourbaki group is no accident. She is actually the sister to Andre Weil, which was one of the members of the Bourbaki group. The Bourbaki group was an actual historical thing, but they are also connected to the 21 Pilots lore, presumably where 21 Pilots got their little X'd out O there, and also, of course, Bourbaki being the inspiration behind Nicholas Bourbaki, aka Blurryface, in the 21 Pilots universe. Andre is also the name of a bishop within the 21 Pilots lore, and in this video we'll talk about how Simone's story very much parallels Clancy and how they kind of have similar philosophies. So if Simone Weil is a representation of Clancy, the fact that she is Andre's sister might represent how Clancy might be related to a bishop in some way, which I've made videos on that in the past, and I think that's becoming more evident every single day, but regardless. Simone Weil is very much like Clancy in the fact that they both stick out. Clancy sticks out in Dima because he is this leader of a rebellion. Simone Weil stuck out because she simply was too smart. She was incredibly intelligent and her radical beliefs caught the attention of those around her. She was always the type of person who did not want to fall into line. She did whatever her heart told her to do. And a person who sticks out just for their beliefs reminds me a lot of Clancy, a person who is totally against Dima and everything that they stand for and is this head of this rebellion. Now, Simone Weil found it really hard to stand back and just watch things that bothered her. See, if she had a real problem with something, she wanted to experience it firsthand and actually see what these people were going through. And that included things such as helping communists escape Germany and quitting her job as a teacher to work in factories as a labor worker. She couldn't just watch from afar. If she had to learn about something, she wanted to actually experience it. And once again, that parallels with Clancy's story. He is living within the walls of Dima trying to defeat it. He is trying to defeat something that is essentially his life. He lives and breathes Dima. He lives within the walls. Because he is experiencing this for himself, he can relate to the problems the other Dima citizens are facing and also fully understand the problem. That seems very Simone Weil to me. But moving on. And while she worked at these factories as a labor worker, she truly began to form her beliefs around oppression. And she began to understand that these factory workers, while they were treated horribly, it wasn't sparking rebellion. They did not find the need to go against this system. What she found was the exact opposite, is that these people were tired and defeated and were just fatigued to the point where they didn't want to fight. She considered this the death of thinking, that these people were just so exhausted that they could not form a rebellion, and it is what it is, basically. I can't help but think that this is probably a similar observation that Clancy made within the walls of Dema. It seems to me that the Dema citizens are also very tired and kind of just go along with what the bishops tell them and this idea of Weilism, and it seems like nobody sparked a rebellion until Clancy. Of course, there were people that followed him afterwards, but no one truly had the energy to stand up to Dema until Clancy. If you look at the Dema citizens, they do look exhausted. They're mostly wearing gray, they do not look very happy, and I think they do kind of parallel this idea that Simone was talking about. Now, Simone was actually born in an agnostic family, but as she grew older, she became really into Christianity and thought that it was an extension of her own philosophy. I think this one kind of speaks for itself. Christianity and religion are big themes within 21 Pilots. So I think Tyler seeing someone who sees religion and sees Christianity as such a huge part of their belief system is probably what he related to, and maybe one of the reasons why he decided to incorporate her philosophy into his own story. Another part of Simone's philosophy is the importance of attention. Attention is such a super big thing if you want to begin to understand the world of Simone Weil. Simone thought that if you wanted to learn about something or change your perspective on something, one of the main things you had to do was simply pay attention to it. Keep an open mind and just listen and pay attention to what you want to learn. Paying attention allows you to be compassionate, right? If you are fully paying attention to someone and you are fully listening with an open mind, you can actually understand where this person is coming from. A quote from her is that attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. You are fully setting yourself aside to listen to somebody else, to see a different perspective of something. And I can see where Tyler enjoys this philosophy because he is so detail-oriented. That's all the man does is pay attention, truly. I feel like everything that Tyler Joseph does is with intent. He never does anything just to be doing it. There's always some sort of reason. The 21 Pilots lore and the storyline that he's telling is so detail-oriented, and there's so much time and passion and love put into it and attention put into it. So again, I kind of see this parallel in mindset between him and Simone. But it also reminds me of how Tyler puts his own self aside to listen to his audience, to listen to his fans. He writes this music, but ultimately a huge part of writing music that deals with mental health is hearing other people's stories. When somebody listens to a song, it's not that they necessarily think about what the artist is going through. I mean, sure, that is a thing. But 9 times out of 10, when somebody hears a story, they're going to apply their own personal experiences to it. And Tyler obviously knows that. It goes into the whole symbolism of why they wear masks on stage and they see themselves as this vessel, because it's not about them, it's not about their identity, it's about the art, it's about the music, it's about the story that they're trying to tell. And that once again gives me this same sort of philosophy vibes of just paying attention and just having an open mind and really trying to understand other people's perspectives and where other people are coming from. And this idea of truly setting aside your own identity and who you are to just listen and pay attention. Ultimately, I think Tyler chose Simone Weil to be within this story because I think he kind of sees himself in her. I think they do have a similar philosophy going on, and that by extension has Clancy's philosophy. I think if you're thinking about how Clancy is leading this rebellion and what he thinks about the world around him, about Trench and Dema and all of this, I think if you study Simone, you'll get some answers on how Clancy actually perceives the world around him. And Simone kind of represents Clancy in a way. I think Tyler just saw himself in this philosopher and was like, I need to write a self-insert OC about this. But Simone Weil is such a rabbit hole. There are so many different ways you can take the comparisons between her and 21 Pilots. I found some really cool sources that I'll put in the description, because if I had to sit and go through every single comparison I could make, this video would be like 50 gazillion hours long. Plus, I don't want to steal anybody else's hard work, okay? These people put a lot of time into these little articles, and I don't want to take that from them. So if you want to read more about this, mainly more parallels between Simone's life and 21 Pilots and how her writings kind of go alongside 21 Pilot lyrics, I'll be putting some articles in the description if you want to check that out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe to join the Groovy Graveyard, and I will see you in the next one.